Hello friends, I'm George, the nice smelling gentleman. Welcome back to the channel guys, I hope that all of you are doing well. It's time for your daily dose of some fragrance content, and today I'm going to revisit 10 cheap fragrances that I have previously reviewed on my channel. I like to do this from time to time to revisit some of those fragrances that I have already reviewed previously on the channel, just to see if the fragrances themselves have changed with time, or if I have changed my personal opinion on them. And the first two fragrances that I've included in today's video both come from the brand of Lattafa. One of those very first Lattafas that I ever added to my collection was called Opulent Oud. This is a whole series of fragrances. There's a white bottle, which is sort of a close to Baccarat Rouge 540. There's a red one, a blue one, but this and the white ones are the ones that I have in my collection. And Opulent Oud actually smells very Middle Eastern. Now this is a fragrance that relies heavily on the combination of oud, rose, and also amber. So you get jammy, sweet rose note, you get a lot of ambery sweetness, you get a strong agar oud note, you get some additional florals and spices. There's also an interesting sort of a boozy note in this fragrance, which feels to my nose like a wine note. Now initially when I first got this fragrance, in the first few months that I've had it in my collection, this opening used to be quite harsh, and that wine note in the opening used to come across like a stale wine note, which I didn't like very much. But with time, a lot of time, keep in mind that I've had this for about 2.5, maybe even close to 3 years in my collection, this has definitely settled down nowadays and feels a lot nicer than it used to be. The opening still is a little bit on the harsher and synthetic side, which is to be expected with something very cheap that has the notes of oud and rose, especially the oud note. You can bet that there's a synthetic oud note used in here, but definitely it has settled down nicely nowadays, and that stale wine note is not as strong in the opening as it used to be. It's a very Middle Eastern scent profile that's perfectly unisex in my opinion. And since day one, this offered great performance and projection, and to this day remains a very strong fragrance. So if you're not afraid of that oud, rose and amber combination, then you can check out Opulent Oud. Definitely this fragrance changed for the better with time. The next one that I'm going to revisit quickly is called Qaa'ed Intense, part of the Qaa'ed line. And this fragrance is a clone of Givenchy Gentleman Reserve Privé, but it's a clone with a slight twist. This one feels a little bit darker than the original fragrance in my opinion, and also feels slightly more powdery. You get a lot of iris powderness, you get a lot of vanillic sweetness, there's some booziness in here, a hint of chestnut, some tobacco. All around this is a great fragrance, and I've really been liking Qaa'ed since the day one that I added this to my collection. And to this day, a few months later, this still remains one of the best Lattafas that I own. Very nice, very gentlemanly and sophisticated scent that smells very similar to Givenchy Gentleman Reserve Privé, but at the same time having its own slightly darker twist. In a way, this also smells, especially in the opening, close to Dior Homme Intense as well. Very nice fragrance. For those of you who love powdery iris-based fragrances, then definitely I think Qaa'ed Intense is a must check out. And to this day, this remains a very favorite Lattafa of mine. The next two that I'm going to revisit are again some of those oldies, some of those old Middle Eastern fragrances that used to be very popular back in the day. In fact, one of them is still to this day remains a very popular one. But I'm going to start with the one that nowadays doesn't seem to get a lot of attention, and that's Rasasi Shuhrah. People, I think, used to call this one the Blue Beast or something like that because of how beastly the performance of this fragrance is. And I do agree that this is a very strong scent, but it's also a very Middle Eastern one. It's a very interesting scent that definitely can feel challenging for a lot of people, and it's a very interesting mix. The most notable and sort of an interesting note that I find in Rasasi Shuhrah is the tomato leaf note that this one has, which adds a bit of a sort of a floral and at the same time green touch to the whole scent profile. And this is a very interesting and quite a unique fragrance. You get the tomato leaf note, you get some leather, you get some spices, maybe a hint of agar oud. There's also ashy tobacco note with this fragrance. Again, it's a very interesting, very Middle Eastern smelling scent that I really like a lot. And to be honest, I haven't given it quite that many wearings in the past probably year or so, because I try so many new stuff nowadays, but this definitely smells very, very interesting. I've always had this picture in my mind that this smells like a very luxurious Middle Eastern soap. And to this day, I think this remains a very unique scent and I like it a lot. Offers great performance and projection, and to this day remains a very, very affordable scent. The next one is probably one of those most popular Middle Eastern fragrances, most popular cologne scents, and of course I'm talking about the Club de Nuit Intense Men line. In this case I have the EDP version, which to this day remains quite a favorite of mine, still remains a great choice for those of you who are looking for a very affordable alternative to Creed Aventus. It carries a very similar scent to Creed Aventus, although of course being a part of the Club de Nuit line, you have this sort of a citrusy kick in the opening that you don't get with the original fragrance, but on the dry down this smells quite similar to Creed Aventus. It's a very popular fragrance, very easy to wear, super versatile, that is a crowd pleaser. It to this day remains very affordable and has great performance. Again, I have the EDP version here, and this has always been a beastly performer for me personally, lasting for a lot of hours, projecting really nicely, and all that for an affordable price. To me, the EDP version offers the best balance between the amount of money that you pay and the quality that you get in return. Probably the limited edition perfume is a slightly more refined version of the EDP version, but it's a little bit more expensive, and you also get 105 milliliters of a bottle size, whereas with the EDP version you can get even for less money than the limited edition one, you can get a 200 milliliter bottle that will last you for a very, very long time. And this again remains a favorite of mine, Club de Nuit Intense Men EDP. The next one that I've included in today's video comes from the brand of Maison Alhambra, and it's called Your Touch for Men, and this is a clone of the original Stronger With You, the EDT version, the OG Stronger With You. And I do believe that to this day this remains a very nice hidden gem. It's not a fragrance from the brand of Maison Alhambra that a lot of people talk about, and that's a real shame because this smells really, really close to the original fragrance, and it also smells very, very nice. It's like a slightly fresher take on the Stronger With You DNA. This one feeling a little bit lighter in the ear, not as sweet, but I think this makes it even more versatile than the original one. It has a very nice, very sweet, very easy to wear scent that smells very modern, smells great for the cold weather, but again, because of the amount of freshness and airness that this fragrance has, it also works really nicely even in warmer weather, as long as it's not too hot out there. And this smells really pleasant, and definitely smells more expensive than it actually costs. And all that airness and freshness should not fool you, because Your Touch for Men actually offers a very, very decent performance, lasting for a good amount of time, and all that for a very affordable price. So definitely this remains a hidden gem, and I think more people should talk about this one and try this one out. The next one that I've included in today's video is again a clone of the Stronger With You line, but this one coming from the brand of Fragrance World. It's called Proud of You Absolute. This one is a clone. In my opinion, it's like a hybrid clone. Originally, people were talking about this one as being a clone of Stronger With You Absolutely, but in my opinion, this smells more like a mix between Intensely and Absolutely. Just lacks a bit of that richness and darkness and warmth of the Absolutely flanker, and it stands somewhere between Intensely and Absolutely. That really doesn't matter because it definitely carries that signature sweetness of the Stronger With You line. It offers pretty decent quality. It's another very likable, very easy to wear fragrance, just like Your Touch, but this one is a little bit darker, a little bit sweeter, and definitely is more cold weather appropriate compared to the more versatile Your Touch from Maison Alhambra. Quality is good. I think you also get a pressurized sprayer. Another good thing about this one is that it remains very, very cheap. Just don't expect this one to smell very similar to Stronger With You Absolutely, and also don't expect very strong performance out of Proud of You Absolute. This has always been more on the moderate side in my experience when it comes to performance, but as a scent on its own, it actually smells very nice. The next one that I've included in today's video again comes from the brand of Fragrance World, and this one is called Oud Wonder, and as you can probably guess, this is a clone of Tom Ford's Oud Wood, and it actually is a nice sort of a take on the original scent. It's not an exact clone, it's not a one-to-one clone Although you get a lot of similar notes compared to the original one. You get the oud, you get the oudi notes, you get the spices, the darkness. This one feeling a little bit sweeter than the original one, making it a little bit more wearable, a little bit less challenging compared to the original one. And I've been really liking Oud Wonder. I really like the original fragrance as well, which unfortunately is quite expensive, and this is a great alternative. But the original one can be a bit challenging for some people, and I definitely find that the Oud Wonder is a more wearable version of the original fragrance from Tom Ford. Offers a very decent performance and also offers quite decent quality as well. And all that for a very affordable price, and I have not changed my mind on Oud Wonder. I still like it to this day. The next one that I included in today's video comes from the brand of Afnan, and it's called Tobacco Rush. And this is a great fragrance. I've really liked this one since day one that I got it, that I added it to my collection. This is a very dark, very masculine scent that smells absolutely fantastic. In a way, it's similar to Mancera's Red Tobacco, but this is like a lot darker, a lot more masculine take on the, the Red Tobacco DNA. It's a lot stronger as well. I mean, not stronger in a way that it lasts longer. It's pretty much a beastly performer, just like Red Tobacco, but this just gives you a more masculine vibe, so when you wear it, when you smell it. This has a lot more emphasis on the tobacco note and also has a lot more emphasis on the leather note compared to the original one. Lacks some of the sweetness, that fruity sweetness and brightness that you get out of Red Tobacco. Just all around, just a more masculine take on the original scent. And it smells absolutely fantastic. You get a very nice presentation, you get a strong magnetic cap, probably the strongest one that I've seen in a fragrance, and you get a beastly performance in return. It's a little bit more expensive than some of the other things that I've included in today's video, but definitely it's worth it because of the performance and the quality that you get with the Tobacco Rush. And to this day, I really love this one. Again, a great dark masculine fragrance. The next one that I've included in today's video comes from the brand of Rayhaan, and it's called Rayhaan Elixir. And this one was probably one of the very first clones of Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Male elixir that hit the markets, and it's not the closest thing that you can get to Le Male elixir. Definitely this feels like a flanker to the Le Male line rather than a straight up clone to Le Male elixir. This having a bit of that signature spiciness and sweetness that you get out of the whole Le Male line, the vanillic sweetness, the minty freshness, but also carrying that a little bit of that tobacco note that Le Male elixir is known for, a little bit of that added honey sweetness. But this feels more like a spicier, slightly fresher take and slightly more vanillic take on the Le Male elixir scent profile. And I really like how this one smells. The only problem with this one is that people are expecting this to smell very similar to Le Male elixir, which it doesn't. Definitely carries the spirit of the Le Male line, but again, this feels more like an additional flanker to the Le Male line rather than being a straight up clone of Le Male elixir, but still smells very nice, very modern, very sexy. It's a good fragrance with good quality, very decent performance, nowhere near as good as the original one, but still not a slouch either. And I keep liking Rayhaan elixir for what it offers, the nice twist that it has compared to the original one. And the last fragrance that I've included in today's video comes from the brand of Paris Corner, and it's called Camaro Homme Intense. And this has been the latest clone of Dior Homme Intense that I added to my collection. And I had to chase this one for a very long time. It was sold out constantly, but I finally was able to get my hands on a bottle of this fragrance, and I couldn't be more happy. This is a very nice clone of Dior Homme Intense, although again, a clone with a bit of a twist. This is like a slightly darker take on the scent of Dior Homme Intense, feeling a little bit more leathery and maybe making it stand somewhere in between Dior Homme Intense and Dior Homme Parfum, but definitely smells very nice. For those of you who like iris, powdery iris based fragrances, this I think is a must try. And this currently is my most favorite clone of Dior Homme Intense, and along with the Cayenne Classic from Alba Tenier, these are the two best clones of Dior Homme Intense that you can get, the two best affordable clones. But I think I like this one a little bit more than Cayenne Classic. Offers very good quality, performance is good, projection is good, and it still remains a very affordable. So guys, in today's video I revisited 10 cheap fragrances that I have previously reviewed on my channel, and I told you my updated thoughts on all 10 of them. I hope that you found this video interesting to watch. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me tomorrow for your daily dose of some fragrance content. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.